Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to the action department. So around here on this channel we talk about action movies, martial arts, fitness, you name it. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget like, subscribe and all that BS. Anyway, today we are in my little home gym in my apartment here in Los Angeles. It's not a big deal, but at least it's something. But this little gym of mine is like nothing compared to the gyms we'll talk about today, because today we're gonna go big. Anyway, I moved into this apartment during the pandemic because the gyms were literally closed, I think, for like a whole year between 2020 and 2021. So it was just too damn much. And 6 months into the pandemic, I was starting to gain a little bit of weight. I was going crazy. It was more like a mental thing. I think I'd gained like 20 pounds and I tried to do the whole push-ups, running around the neighborhood, but it really didn't work. Not when you're used to, when you normally have access to like a multi-million-dollar gym, So I think there was a lot of us that were kind of, us old gym rats. We got a little confused and we had to come up with something. So I was lucky enough to be able to move out of my little one-bedroom apartment and move into this larger two-bedroom apartment. And then I took the largest room and literally turned it into a home gym. Now, I'm not going to do a little tour. It could be fun to do that in another video. But today, let's talk about some of the biggest, baddest home gyms that the world has ever seen. And of course, they belong to some of our beloved action heroes that we talk so much about on this channel. One of them, of course, we're going to see how The Rock trains when he's on the road. We're going to see how, what's that other guy's name? Now, let's get into it and see how the big boys work out. Anyway, let's start by checking out The Rock. Yeah, alright. So, talking about being a kid in a candy store. If you own a gym membership, then there's no way that you cannot appreciate something like this, because this is every man's dream. There are a lot of cool home gyms in this world, but this has got to be the Bugatti of home gyms. And the craziest part, The Rock has not only one, but he has several. How insane is that? Alright, so the man, the hero, the legend calls this the Iron Paradise, and you can see why. I'm not even kidding here, this is closer to the size of a commercial gym, instead of that little room that I have myself. What I really like about this is that even though The Rock is one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, it's not what you would call a pretty gym, sort of like a movie star gym. No, every piece of equipment here serves a purpose, and The Rock knows just what to do with it. Some might say, yeah, that's a little excessive, isn't it? Well, I don't know about that. When you have a body like The Rock, it's very, very important to eat a ton of protein, but also to have access to a variety of workout equipment 24 hours a day. One of the reasons that The Rock is worth hundreds of millions of dollars is because of his body. Not just, but it certainly had a lot to do with it, especially early on in his career. So his body is like a temple, and it has to be protected and maintained at all times. The man's mindset is just as crazy and insane as this gym that you're witnessing. The man will literally work out regardless if he's jet lagged, whether it's 2 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever, the man will get the job done. And at the age of 52, he still works out for at least 2 hours a day, and the man has a crazy and insane schedule, but he makes it happen. Alright, and now to the good part. Let's see what The Rock is hiding in this magic gym of his. Perhaps we can steal some ideas so we can become equally as strong and powerful ourselves. Okay, so I noticed a ton of dumbbells as far as the eye can see. And I believe it goes up to 140 pounds, which is around 65 kilos. I believe my own power blocks only goes up to 90 pounds, and trust me, that's not for babies. Okay, what else do we got here? I see vertical leg press, which you rarely see in modern gyms these days. Actually, Arnold used it back in the day. Of course, the equipment in the 60s and 70s was so primitive compared to what we find today in the Iron Paradise. Now fellas, can you imagine having all this available just for you? You can almost tell what The Rock is thinking, which is, this is my gym, and it's all just for me. That's right, the king has spoken. Alright, Dwayne boy, get your ass back to work. I also see plenty of cardio equipment, which only makes sense. Okay guys, if you think this is crazy, then you ain't seen nothing yet. No matter where The Rock travels all over the planet, the Iron Paradise will follow. Yes, that's right. The man can literally put this entire gym in a suitcase, a very, very large suitcase, and bring it with him. I'm guessing he has people working for him that's traveling in advance, setting up the gym. So by the time The Rock arrives at the new destination, he'll literally just put on his gym shoes, his shorts, go in there and pump up that iron. Now that is first class. So are you thinking the same as me? Okay, that cannot be cheap. I'm guessing something like this would cost in the tens of thousands of dollars, maybe even six figures. Or if he's working on a movie, I'm sure the studio will literally just pick up the tab, which really isn't that big of a deal. Some of his movies cost maybe over $200 million. So if they have to pay another $100,000 just so that The Rock can train and look pretty damn good on screen, well, it's a pretty small price to pay. Okay, so who started this whole thing with taking a gym with you on the road? Because that sounds pretty pricey, doesn't it? Now, not everybody can afford something like what The Rock has. I mean, it's gotta cost a freaking fortune. But there was this one guy, you might have heard of him, that sort of started this whole thing. Alright fellas, do we really need to introduce this guy? I mean, he looks kind of familiar, right? The Terminator, aka the Governator, aka the greatest, or at least one of the greatest bodybuilders that ever lived. 7-time Mr. Olympia, 5-time Mr. Universe, Mr. World, Mr. blah 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 blah. Alright, you get the picture. Now, let's see how the man stays in shape. Believe it or not, but these days Arnold actually works out at Gold's Gym in Venice, California, which is also pretty much where he started when he first came over here back in the 1960s, so I guess you can say the man has come full circle. So if you happen to be in town, why don't you go down there and check it out? The man usually works out between 7 and 8 in the morning. Arnold also has a very impressive home gym, and at the age of 76, he sometimes even works out twice a day. Sometimes in the morning at Gold's Gym, and later in the day, he might even do another workout at home. I'm sure most days he just works out once, which is still plenty. Unfortunately, Arnold's good friend Franco Columbu passed away a few years ago, and he was his gym buddy for many, many years, since they were literally 20 years old. Okay, so who does Arnold work out with today? Who has the honor? Well, Arnold has a pony and a donkey, and as you can see, sometimes they actually join him at the gym. Arnold does not exactly train for Mr. Olympia anymore, but he still does one hell of a job. What's really cool here is that Arnold actually, I believe, was the first man to ever create what you would call a gym on wheels. The truck in the picture does not exactly belong to Arnold, but it's just to give you an idea what it must have looked like. Now, as mentioned earlier, The Rock calls his home gym the Iron Paradise, so why don't we call this Iron on Wheels? During his long and very impressive movie career, he realized that he had to work out pretty much at all times. So part of his contract many times was that the studio should supply him with an 18-wheeler truck full of workout equipment that he could literally take anywhere. So he could work out 24 hours a day if he felt like it. When he was shooting Predator, which of course you've seen, literally half of his cast members were big badass bodybuilders, and they all used to work out together at like 4 or 5 a.m. And they loved to have this gym trailer available. Even Clint Eastwood was very intrigued by Arnold's home gym, and he actually borrowed it for the movie Pink Cadillac, in which Arnold's friend Sven, that you also know from Running Man and Gladiator, actually helped training Clint Eastwood for the film. And in exchange, Sven got a small part in the film as a big piece of meat. Sven has taken the credit a couple of times, saying, "Notice how big Clint Eastwood's arms were in that film. At almost 60 years of age, Clint Eastwood was in pretty damn good shape. Look at those big biceps." So I know a lot of you guys are into all this stuff, martial arts, or just working out at the gym, and there's nothing more cool and badass, at least in my mind, than a cool gym at home, you know, a garage gym or something like that. And, you know, it actually can be done relatively cheap. And as long as you're very creative, you know, it doesn't take that much. Now, Joe Rogan also has a background in martial arts, fitness, and the whole shebang. And let's take a look at how he works out at home. Alright, so here we see Joe Rogan's home gym, which is also pretty damn sweet. Obviously, it's nothing compared to what The Rock has, but as a nice home gym, I think he has everything he needs. Let's check it out. Now, the first thing that comes to mind is obviously the really cool, badass LED lighting. It just gives the gym a whole different touch and feel. A lot of his equipment, as you can see, are from Sorinex. I'm quite familiar with them, and they are top of the line when it comes down to home gyms. You can also see that the man is a big believer in kettlebells, and he has a whole wall full of them. He also has a pull-down machine, rowing, Smith machine, cable crossover, and a ton of extra plates. Obviously, the man's not going to get bored anytime soon. Now, as you can see, the man definitely knows how to pump iron, but he does so much more than just that. He's also into martial arts, he does cardio, yoga, and so many different things. He's actually very balanced, so he's not just all about pumping that iron. But it definitely comes in handy to have this at your disposal if you're stuck at home, or heaven forbid, if there was another pandemic. To me, it looks like this could be in a garage or maybe, I don't know, guest house, something like that. Look at the windows. It also looks pretty damn nice and clean, so it has a really good feel about it. And I'm sure he spent a lot of time in here. You don't get in great shape just from sitting down all day talking to people like he does on his podcast, so he needs to do what he needs to do. Anyway, I think this is a cute little setup that Joe has at home, so good for him. Okay, let's quickly talk about pros and cons in regards to having a home gym. Are there really any cons? Well, you find out after you have spent thousands of dollars and you go, oh crap. Obviously, it's cool that you can work out at any time. Like this morning, I worked out at home and I haven't even been outside my door all day because I work from home today. So in some ways, that's pretty cool. But here's the flip side though. There's absolutely no action, zero action in a home gym. You don't get inspired, motivated, excited when you work out at home, at least not the same way. And there's also no atmosphere compared to a public gym. However, this is what really pisses me off when you go to a regular gym. Whether it's in the morning or after work, where it's so damn busy, when it's so packed and you literally have to stand there and wait by each machine for several minutes, and all you see is some idiot that sits there, does one little set, don't even care about what they do, and then they check out their phone for like 5 minutes, they do a little texting, a little selfie, then they do another set while looking around. There's no connection between their mind and muscles and their workout. They simply just go through the motions, and you're standing there kind of like, come on buddy, let's move it. That is obviously something you don't have to deal with at home. I would say a 1 hour workout at a local gym only takes me about 40 minutes at home, so you can definitely save a lot of time. You also don't have to drive down there, get changed, shower, blah, 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 blah. So there's a lot of benefits in working out from home. But like I said, there's two sides to everything here. So keep that in mind, especially if you're a social creature. Anyway, fellas, thanks for checking out this video. Please support the channel, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Now, I only have one thing left to say. Get your ass to the gym. See you next time.